I've waited and waited to start this video. Next door's found his chainsaw. He said to me the other day, he said, I haven't got any oil, I haven't got the fuel to get it running. He's obviously found the oil and found the fuel. And now he's basically fell in the Amazon out there. So I've waited for it to stop. It's been an hour. It shows no sign of relenting. I'm expecting to see nothing out there when I go back out. So please excuse the noise and the hum and the destruction in the background. It's a bit of a milestone today, not for Hammers Chat, but for football itself. 50 days without football. Now, it took me a bit by surprise. Think about it. Yeah, guess it has been. We went to be playing Norwich yesterday. Stopped. We went to be playing Norwich yesterday. I've seen it sort of tried to be commemorated in many ways. On Claret and Hugh, one of the columnists has done a mock-up of how the game might have gone, and he had it as a 2-0 win to Norwich. Myself and Gio, I'm sure, in the very near future, we'll be doing a FIFA representation of what might have happened, but nobody knows. We might have won, we might have lost. Felt like we were getting a bit of momentum. But how do we mark the 50 days? It's been weird. I think I take 50 days in the summer holiday when we know it's going to happen. Maybe when you're having day trips to the beach and, you know, and you're working yourself and you're doing different things. But this has been weird. We've all been stuck at home. And at the time when we most need football, we haven't had it. Which is stark contrast to the summer holiday when you've got loads and loads of other distractions. You might like cricket, you might like Formula 1, you might like other things, you might go on holiday. It's been weird. It's been very, very weird. And throughout all of this, there's been this constant of football trying to get back to normality. Now, as I've said, I think football does operate within a bit of a bubble. Always have done, not just because of this. And I still maintain that. But I also understand it. Because just doing these videos, we've tried to maintain some sort of normality. Does football look forward and try and think, when can we get the calendar up and running? Yes. The tabloids are still running the articles. Did the rumours one the other day? I mean, even today, we've been linked with Alfredo Morelos from Rangers and their goalkeeper, by the way. Now, is there any truth in it? I don't know. It's a story. So I understand why the papers would run it. I certainly think it's a more realistic target than some of the others that we've been linked with. And I think when football does get back up and running, we're going to have to cut our cloth. There is going to have to be some sort of trade deals or swaps, loans. I think you'll see a lot of that. Transfer values are going to plummet. There's no doubt about it at all. I think there's a difference between, are we going to get a player and is David Moyes interested in a player? Because David Moyes, aside from delivering the vegetables, has got to keep himself sane as well. So obviously he's going to be planning. So does he want Morelos? Quite possibly. Are we going to get him? Who knows? It's too early to tell. For those of you who don't know, he's a good player. He plays up for Rangers. He's had more red cards than Gio gets on Valentine's Day, this boy. He's trouble. He's a naughty boy, but a very, very good player. The keeper, I couldn't tell you about, but it's a story and it's football trying to get back to normality. Now, I don't know if it's true or not, but I've also heard that Arsenal, as of Monday, are going to go back to training. That's fraught with danger, and I don't just mean danger in terms of, you know, you might catch something or this, that, and the other. I also think it's dangerous in terms of, is it a little bit too early? Is there any government guidance? No. I mean, in many respects, all the clubs are winging it at the moment. They're trying to do what they think is the right thing to do. What's best for them, what's best for... Everyone's got different ideas of what's best for them, what's best for the players, what's best for their staff. Arsenal, without any guidance, and I don't think there's been any government guidance because, as I say, I think sport is the last priority for any government at the moment. But Arsenal obviously thought, you know what, let's get back to training. Now, I don't know how they're going to do it. And the science on it is really weird because, I mean, if you go down the supermarket, they're spraying the trolleys and wiping them down. Gives the indication that this thing can be passed by touch, right? So how's that work with a football? Are you allowed to pass a football between two people? How far are you going to have to stay to them? What about if you come into contact with the cones, if you run around the cones and things like that? I just think there are the nets on the goals. I think there are so many things that are grey areas. In many respects, it's either very brave or very stupid of Arsenal to go back at this point. But I do think there's all these rumours coming out. the Dutch league has been decided. Bundesliga clubs are going to go back, and they think they might have set a date for early May. Apparently, the Chinese have put their footballers into quarantine with a view to them restarting their fixture schedule. Excuse me, is that going to happen? I don't know. I just think this is all a little bit too early, but it all's all born out of the desperation to get football back up and running. I mean, Karen Brady did an article yesterday. I believe it was in her Sun column. I didn't read the paper itself, but again, there was a breakdown of what she'd said. Again, she was looking at the logistical problems of getting back up and running, about the safety of staff. And what really struck me about this Arsenal one was how many of them, of the players this is, let's say an email went out or whatever, I don't know, the player liaisons officer phones up all the players. We're back in training on Monday. How many of those Arsenal players said, no, I don't want to. I'm not ready. Because make no mistake about it, at some point when restrictions are lifted, there are going to be a set number of people who have been stuck in their house for a long, long time and are going to be scared to go out. So you might even be one of the people that's received a letter. 12,000 people received a letter. You might well be in the vulnerable category. And my son certainly is. So what happens? There's going to be a number of people who are going to think, well, actually, I don't want that much contact with the outside world. Now, you have to assume that whilst a lot of the players might be fit and firing and fine, there's going to be people within their household, within their families, who they're not going to want to go out for the day and potentially bring something back. So I wonder how many of those Arsenal players said no. I can almost guarantee not all of the squad, and I guess you're talking about youth squad and the full first team squad. I imagine we're talking about 50-odd footballers here. I would guarantee that not every single one of them has said, yes, we're going to go in. So it begs the question, how many have said, no, we won't know. That's private stuff. What I would hope is that the club don't punish them for that. I would hope that the club would sort of understand, and it was very much, look, we're going to resume training. You're welcome to come if you want. And we are basically going to try and circumvent X, Y, and Z to make sure there are there's no spreading of anything. But as I say, the science is weak. Does that mean no footballs? Does that mean, what about if you handed out a bib? Because there's different things. You're told if you get a delivery, if you get a parcel, to leave it for 3 days, to sanitise it, that sort of thing. How far is this going to go? As I say, I think the advice is weak at the moment. People don't know. So I just think it's individual parties basically trying to rush it back. But I do understand the need to have it back. I do understand the desire to have it back. But I do think, because I also read at the same time when I was looking at the Arsenal thing, that Aubameyang's father has demanded a new contract for Arsenal. Now, again, you don't know what part of this story has made up and what's not. But I think, bearing in mind this, he's not about to run out of contract, as I understand it. He's still got another year or so on his contract. The very fact that there is even talk that he might get a new lucrative contract probably doesn't really... It doesn't really appreciate exactly what's gone on in football and how football may change. And people don't know what the landscape's going to be just yet. People don't know. So I just wonder, how are they going to make these plans going forward? I still don't know. I read the comments. There are a number of people in here that think there's going to be no football for 2 years. I don't think we're going anywhere near a football stadium for a very, very long time. And I'll be honest, whilst a lot of us want to get out of the house, and whilst a lot of us want to do something, a football stadium's a very odd place to be if you're going to try and contain a virus. Number one, what about the security search? Surely you can't be padded down, right? I'm guessing you just can't be. What about when you get in the stadium? I'm guessing they're not going to be supplying any food or beverages, anything like that, because how could you do that safely? I mean, I love a pizza, you can tell. I love a pizza, right? I've not ordered a pizza since all this has gone down. I just think, I don't know, I just don't know. As I say, the science is weak on it. And what about when you go in there? Do you really want to sit inside a stadium where actually they might have to rotate the fans? There won't be anyone with him. They're not going to put fans every 2 metres away, put it this way. Because at a football match, you shout. And so you're projecting. You're projecting your breath, and you shout, you scream, you sing, you do all the things you'd expect to do at a football match. So they're not going to go 2 metres. If someone's shouting and all the rest of it, the way you're exhaling and stuff like that at a football match, you're going to be looking at, I'd imagine, 5 or 6 metres. Do you really want to go and watch a football match, run the gauntlet, possibly have to travel on the tube, and sit in a stadium where there's no one anywhere near you? I just think the whole thing would be very, very odd. I don't know the answers. I just thought it was interesting 50 days in to see where we are. Because I'm getting tired of it. I'm getting bored of it. I don't just mean the football. I'd like to go back to work. I'd like the kids to go to school. I'd like everything to be safe. I'd like to go away for a few days. I'd like to go and see my mum. All those other things that you may or may not take for granted. 50 days in, I don't know if it'd be another 50 days or what. I don't know what's being done in this whole thing. But I do understand football's desire to try and carry on as if nothing is happening. The truth of the matter is, though, when you're hearing these things about the football season might start in a month, this player might be getting a new contract, or such and such is being linked with this club or that club, nobody knows. They're all farting in the wind, basically. There's just no certainty to any of it. So take all of it, including this. Take everything with a pinch of salt. Keep your fingers crossed and hope at some point that we can have some semblance of football, some semblance of entertainment, whereby everybody, the players, the staff and the fans, are all kept safe.